Good evening. For the last semester, our NSR group has examined college government structure and leadership development. Our team leader is Maria Pickett, and my name is Colin Shaw.
I'm Roshni Janakiraman.
I'm John Capo.
I'm Connie Penning.
I'm Colin DeLuch.
I'm Rachel Sterling.
And I'm Gabriel Tiro.
Rice is unique because of its residential college system. From Brown's poorly maintained facilities to Hanson's still sucking. Each college has its own shared traits that shape Rice's culture. Each college has its own government to manage issues that pertain solely to the college. The college governments are essential to the functionality of the residential college system, and they provide the most direct reach to all students. However, there are some problems with the college government system. There's a lack of communication between college governments, which keeps them closed and separate. This means that ineffective college governments that are in place often say the status quo. The purpose of our investigation is to identify the best practices within each college government system and suggest methods as to how different college governments can integrate these practices into the current setup. We also wish to improve communication between college governments, foster a stronger relationship between the SA and college government systems, and create more leadership developed programs at the college level.
So for our methods of investigation, we first decided that the 6 topics we needed to focus on are overall government structure and hierarchy, the structure of meetings, management, resources, inter-college communication, and the SA-college relationship. So to collect data, we first interviewed each of the 11 college presidents, and we also sat in on each of the 11 college government meetings. And we saw this as an opportunity to recognize the positive factors that lead to a generally successful meeting, and also to experience what the college presidents had described in their interviews. And then after we finished gathering all of our data, we compiled it into 2 Google documents, and from there each of the NSRs in our group went through and commented on what we thought were the best practices. And we focused mostly on what repeatedly posed problems for some colleges, but weren't seen as a concern for others.
In relation to the structure of the government, it's fairly consistent amongst most of the colleges. At the top of the hierarchy sits the president. In the president's executive cabinet consists of varying numbers of secretaries, vice presidents, and treasurers. Other components of the government consist of representatives, which are arranged either by class or by floor, and other elected positions such as SA senator, parliamentarian, and chief justice. In some colleges, committee heads are heavily intertwined in the governmental process as well, as opposed to being autonomous structures. Some of the best practices that we notice is that in some college governments there are 2 secretaries and 2 treasurers. We found this to be best because of the division of labor. We notice higher efficacy and more people being involved in college government. Most colleges already utilize 2 vice presidents, often an internal and an external vice president, but some colleges have a 3rd vice president position. The 3rd vice president position creates a leadership role in another department, such as Baker's educational vice president, which leads PAAs and mentors. In addition, the 3 vice presidents should also have the additional responsibility of committee oversight. In regards to representatives, some colleges work best with class representatives, while others work best with floor representatives. But whichever model is preferred, we notice that greater representation is preferred.
Next, we'll look at the structure of the actual government meetings. When we started, we expected the presidents to dominate the discussion, and to our surprise, they did not, unless they were lying. Essentially, the college presidents serve to facilitate discussion during the meetings, to ensure that certain questions are answered, and to ensure that no single person ends up talking for way too long. But many colleges include visual aids during their government meetings. This could be as simple as a PowerPoint on loop with information going on about events going on at the college level or at the university-wide level, so that people at the meetings can just take a look over and get caught up. Next, the announcements were very different from college to college. Some colleges had a specific item on every agenda where a certain representative would talk. For example, the SA senator would talk, and then the RPC rep would talk, and then something else, something else. Some colleges just have announcements as they're needed. Duncan College was actually very different in that they don't have any announcements during their government meetings. The reason behind that is that it allows more time for actual discussion, and the announcements are already sent out on daily listserv emails anyway. Next, we'll look at the unique components, and let me add a bit of a disclaimer when I say this. These are not all of the unique components that we learned from our interviews. If we said all the unique components, we'd be here for 45 minutes. We really liked how McMurtry College and Baker College both have a specific item in their budget reserved for new ideas and initiatives. And this way, anyone who is a part of the college can come up with a new idea for combating an issue or a new event or something. And Baker's is actually unique in that it's reserved for the people who are not a member of the executive cabinet. So everyone in the college is allowed to be a part of it, and they feel like they help the college in that way. Weiss's college government is very serious about their autonomy, and this was very unique. When people are elected to a position, they learn what they're supposed to do, and they get going. Rarely do they have meetings with higher-ups about what they should be doing. It really allows them to take a unique approach to their role. It's not exactly something that every college can implement in the same way, but adding a bit of individuality to a role really helps. We also liked how Sid Richardson College layers their meetings after events. For example, this would be like there could be an associate's night or an RA's hosted study break, and then following that will be the cabinet meeting. And so people are encouraged to stay after the event and go to the cabinet meeting, or student government, whatever they call it. And that has definitely showed a greater increase in turnout.
Now, an additional concern that we found with many of the colleges was the lack of leadership development for underclassmen. However, we found that Martell might have a solution. So, typically at every college, there are 6 NSRs chosen in the freshman class and then an additional few chosen as freshman representatives. However, the rest of the freshman class is given no opportunity for developing their leadership potential at a college level. However, with the Martell Shadows program, all students interested are allowed to shadow a committee, which not only gives them the opportunity to learn more about the committee, but also gives them valuable knowledge about the leadership responsibility involved. Now, the nice part about this program is the benefits are twofold. Not only are the NSRs, not only are the new students and freshmen getting valuable knowledge about holding roles in the college government, but also the committees are gaining many more members, which is something all committees are generally looking for. Now, how the Shadows program works is the shadow is paired with the mentor, and the mentor kind of shows them the ropes, shows them how it is and the work involved in leading a committee. Now, the hope in this is that in the coming years, the Shadows will grow and be better prepared to head committees. So this is a great opportunity for students to learn the work involved in heading a committee. Also, this is nice because in the coming years, students who are involved in the Shadows program will be better prepared for leadership roles in other parts of their life and in the college, and it will also hopefully get more students involved in the college government. Now, this is in its pilot year at Martell, so there's plenty of room for improvement, but we still see it as a great practice that most of the colleges should consider implementing. Now, an additional concern was the leadership transition. All the colleges expressed an interest in improving the leadership transition because of previous years, the leadership transition has been sloppy. So our best practice is that there be a Dropbox or something of the sort that each position has, and that all important information and best practices of the own sort can be put in this Dropbox, and this Dropbox would then be shared from each coming year. We see this as a much smarter alternative to the current practice, which is giving the new leaders the opportunity to figure it out on their own. So that is our best practice for leadership transition.
After compiling our data, we found 3 main areas for best practices. These 3 areas are also the areas where colleges have room to grow. They're in college structure and government, organization. Second, in communication, and third, in leadership development. In regards to structure, there are two main problems that colleges have. First, that committees lack a sense of purpose or direction. And second, that there's high rates of student burnout after their first year. There's a lot of excitement coming into freshman year. Everybody wants to be involved. And as Rachel mentioned, Martell's Shadows program offers a great way to fix that. More students are given opportunities to participate in their individual college's government that they care a lot about. In regards to committee structure, giving committees a specific mandate, what they're supposed to accomplish over this term and over the next year, gives them a greater sense of purpose and would increase motivation in students. Second, in regards to communication, there are two main problems. First, that there's ineffective communication within committees, and second, that there's ineffective communication from year to year. To fix the problem within committees, having increased participation from the individual students as opposed to blanket emails. Listservs are great at getting announcements out, but they don't get people involved. And having each individual student involved and having a say in what's going on with the organization of the committee is very important. To that end, instead of having listservs or group emails, having group texts where everybody has a say, where everybody gets to speak what's on their mind, is particularly effective. In regards to year-to-year communication and how materials about groups and committees are passed down, as Rachel also mentioned, a series of documents that were in regards to the structure of meetings, the structure of the organization, and precedents for how the meetings are run are particularly effective.
So touching more on leadership development, we recognize that every student at Rice is a leader in his own different light. And we also note that there are many organizations around campus to develop the leadership potential of every individual. But we see that college government in particular is a valuable platform for individuals to develop their leadership skills. For committee heads, they get a chance to head a committee. And for committee members, they get a chance to work within the team itself. Through the presentation, we note there's insufficient leadership development provided at the college level. We see a solution at twofold: one within the college itself, having the incumbent leadership, the upperclassmen, providing leadership guidance and mentorship to the underclassmen within their committees itself. And next, we also recognize the presence of external resources around campus. These are campus-wide resources. For example, Leadership at Rice, Center for Student Activities. These are organizations with professional resources on what it means to be a leader, on how to develop a leader itself. And we see that there's an absence of these resources within the college level. So wrapping up the three main areas that we want to focus on college structure, communication, and leadership development, we would like to propose a retreat for the college leadership, in particular looking at the college committee heads. So what we understand in the previous spring semester, the presidents, the chief justices, and other leaders around campus got together on a day-long retreat to experience what it is to be a leader and hone the leadership skill. And we hope to bring this similar activity under the umbrella of the Students' Association to bring the committee heads in for a retreat itself. We hope to bring the outgoing leadership and the incoming leadership to harness the experience and the best practices of the outgoing leadership, while tapping into the aspirations, the new ideas of the fresh batch of leaders itself. Beyond the student body, we hope to bring in the external resources that we mentioned earlier, to bring in them to conduct workshops on what it is to be a committee head, what it is to be a president, what it is to be a senator itself. And as we conclude our presentation, we'd like to thank the various presidents of the different colleges for the time and the opinions that they've given to us, and those who have helped us along the way, for example, Gabriel. Thank you.